Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring a truly radical, kind of mind-bending concept. The idea of literally surgically dividing our human identity right down the middle. We're talking about drawing an absolute, impenetrable line between our life at work and our life at home. So let's unpack the science and the psychology behind severance and, what it actually reveals about our very real modern lives.
I want you to really stop and imagine this for a second. What if your life could be cleanly split in two? Like, imagine a reality where your work life and your personal life are completely, irrevocably severed. One part of you wakes up only when you step foot into the office, and the other part of you, well, it only exists out in the real, outside world. Now, this isn't just some fun sci-fi premise. It's a deeply fascinating psychological thought experiment. Think about it. If you could just turn off your outside life the second you clocked in and completely turn off your work stress the second you clocked out, would you do it?
Now, what's really interesting about this idea is how it acts as the ultimate, inescapable form of extreme psychological compartmentalization. We're talking about a fictional process where a person's memories and experiences are surgically split right in two. Inside the office, the work self only knows the job. It knows its tasks, its colleagues, its daily responsibilities, and literally nothing else. Outside the office, the personal self remembers family, friends, dreams, the whole shebang. Both of these selves share the exact same physical body, but they remain entirely unaware of each other's world. It's like living two completely separate lives without either side ever crossing paths.
So chronologically, the transition is seamless, but it is total. You walk into your workplace, you step into the elevator, and as those doors close and you head up, your work self activates. In that exact moment, the outside world, all the warm colors of your real life, completely fades into this sterile, hyper-focused state. You remember your role, you remember your team, but everything about your life outside just vanishes. Poof, gone. And conversely, when you take that elevator back down at the end of the day, your personal self returns to consciousness with absolutely zero memory of what just happened inside that building. So, why on earth would anyone choose such a drastic, irreversible procedure? Well, it fundamentally comes down to escaping cognitive overload. We live in an era of constant connectivity, and this mounting, inescapable pressure. The motivation here is that deeply relatable, almost desperate desire to just separate work stress from our personal lives. I mean, millions of people suffer from extreme burnout, right? And the modern fantasy is that magically splitting our memories might actually cure that. It's the ultimate dream of achieving perfect work-life balance by simply erasing the work part from your personal consciousness. But as you might guess, trying to permanently sidestep our hardships raises some much deeper psychological questions. And this brilliantly illustrates the jarring reality of making this choice. Just look at the stark contrast. On one side, the work self lives in this continuous, inescapable loop. Every single day, it returns to the same endless routines, the identical hallways, with no context of a family, no hobbies, no personal dreams to look forward to, no respite. It knows only the workspace and then disappears into silence the second the day ends. Meanwhile, the personal self exists in total blissful ignorance, soaking up all the warmth of a home life without any awareness of the brutal struggles the work self endures to provide it. Both realities belong to the exact same person. It makes the very concept of human identity feel like a massive, kind of haunting puzzle. Of course, this stark division inevitably forces us into a corner of deep ethical dilemmas. I mean, if the work self is experiencing life, suffering through stress, doing the tasks, doesn't it possess its own form of consciousness? Does it have its own basic rights? Is it essentially a separate person? Furthermore, do the emotions of the work self even matter if the personal self never feels them? We absolutely have to ask whether an organization or a corporation should ever hold so much control over a human being's memories. Is splitting your mind a revolutionary new kind of freedom from stress? Or is it actually a terrifying new kind of prison for the half of you that's permanently stuck at work?
And when we anchor this futuristic concept back to our own reality, the parallels are pretty striking. In fiction, you get an absolute, clean division of self right at 5 p.m. But in reality, we face a messy, exhausting, constant struggle for work-life balance. Where the fiction offers perfectly wiped memories, the real world gives us cognitive dissonance and burnout. This incredibly heavy mental load that bleeds right over to our dinner tables and our weekends. The fiction explores corporate control of the mind in a literal sense, but today, we already experience deeply connected personal and work stress that actively reshapes who we are. Severance is really just a dramatic, physical manifestation of our everyday struggle to disconnect.
Let's move forward and see how this builds into the psychological core of the experiment. Can human identity truly be divided?
From a neurological and psychological standpoint, our identity isn't just a filing cabinet of separate folders. Actually, scratch that. It's more like an intricately woven web. Our concept of self relies heavily on integrative memory. Every single experience we have, whether it happens in a sterile office or a warm living room, interacts to form a continuous whole. Splitting the mind wouldn't just cleanly organize our emails, it would fundamentally disrupt our emotional core. It completely challenges the biological reality that you cannot surgically isolate parts of your brain without deeply fracturing the person as a whole.
Which brings us to a profoundly emotional realization. Memories are not just information. They are literally the story of who we are. This is a fundamental, absolute truth of human psychology. Our memories, even the grueling ones, the stressful days, the office conflicts, the struggles, they teach us resilience. They teach us what we've lost, what we've gained, and ultimately who we hope to become. They are the building blocks of our empathy. If half of those memories were just surgically taken away from you to spare you the discomfort, would you even still be the same person? It's a stark warning for sure. Our identity and our shared experiences are not just commodities we can divide up for convenience.
So the crucial point is this. Severance teaches us that our mind and our integrated memories are, without a doubt, our truest strength. If we hand that power over to technology or corporations just to escape the friction of daily life, we risk erasing the very essence of who we are. So I leave you to ponder this as we wrap up. Will we take the hard road and set the boundaries of our own lives, or will we let an institution decide them for us? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.